Are you guys adventure seekers and love to explore places off the beaten path with a car or truck? Have you ever considered lowering your air pressure while you're off-road? Did you know that lowering your air pressure will significantly improve the ride quality of your vehicle by 200%? Okay, well, don't quote me on the exact percentage, but yeah. So if you want to know more about how to deflate your tires, I will leave a link down below on that process, or you can click on the card right here and you guys can jump to that to watch that video later. All right, so that leads me into today's video is that once you guys get off the beaten path, you're gonna need a way to inflate your tires by choosing one of these types of inflators. Now, it's important that when you guys do come off the path that you inflate your tires back to the vehicle's manufacturer specs, and you guys can open the driver's side door and look in the door jamb to get the proper tire pressure that you need. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the most common tire inflation systems on the market, price ranging from $60 range to $1,000 range. And I will talk about each one of these as we go along. And I will leave the links down below so you know where to go buy it. So just to be clear, this demonstration is not to determine which compressor is the best, because that could mean different to everybody and we all have different objectives when we go out on a trail. So a $1,000 compressor may not make sense for somebody who does light wheeling, you know, once a year. So I'm simply sharing these 4 types of air compressors that you guys can go out and buy today at any big box stores like Home Depot, even Costco, and especially 4-wheel parts. They have the upper echelon of the compressors, and Amazon definitely has all your varieties, flavors, colors, and things like that. So today we're gonna be using our Range Rover because I think this fits the profile for an adventure vehicle. These tires are Michelin's Primacy AS 255 by 20-inch wheel. Now, in this demonstration, it's not going to be 100% accurate as far as how long it's going to take to go from 20 psi back to 35 psi, only because there's going to be some times where I need to stop the gauge to read the pressure, and then if it's not there yet, I got to hit it again. So there's that, a little bit of lag or delay, if you will. So plus or minus 5 seconds. But I think you're going to see, no matter what, all 5 of these air compressors, or the 4, will have such a big gap difference in how they will inflate just to 15 pounds. So let's go and get started. All right, guys, so for the sake of this exercise, we're going to use my Merlin air compressor to make sure that so that the tire is at 20 psi, okay, using this gauge. Okay, so we are at 20 psi. We're going to get our stopwatch ready. All right, and we're going to adjust the auto set off to 35 psi. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so basically at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it inflated 15 pounds of pressure. I'm really surprised how well this thing worked. I'll give it definitely a 2 thumbs up. I'm not sure how long this would last for all 4 tires, but I can tell you right now that generally when you're running a small compressor like this, this thing gets pretty warm, and this is not that bad at all compared to some of the other electric compressors that I have used. So this is definitely a good option. All right, guys, so next up on our chopping block is our Husky digital inflator. Okay, so you guys can see right now we have, let's see, yep, here we go. This is set to 20 pounds. Let me get the clock ready. All right, so we're at 20 psi, and we got our auto shut off set at 35 psi. We're ready to go. Let's go ahead and start the clock. So this one was surprisingly 30 seconds slower than the smaller DeWalt compressor. So let's move on to the next one. All right guys, so we are at 20 pounds and we are ready to go. All right, so that took just over a minute with the second compressor. Wow, that's really impressive. All right guys, so now we're gonna take a similar compressor by Smittybilt and let's see how this one does. Now I've had this one for over 4 years and this has always been my B compressor, but it's done really well. So I hope this will do it just as good as the red one. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this one took 52 seconds, just a little bit faster than the red one. So let's now move on to our A or B. All right, so here we go. We are set at 20 pounds right now. We set the clock. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, so it did it in 35 seconds, but I went over. I'm at 36 pounds right now. So 1 pound over, way faster than anything we have here. So there you go. Now the question is, what type of compressor is right for you? Well, let me just help you eliminate some of the confusion that's out there. So if you guys done any kind of research, there are thousands of compressors kind of like this on the market, anywhere from Home Depot, Walmart, Costco, Amazon's got a billion of them. There's only 3 main types of compressors out there from my research and all the things that I have seen on the trail and ones that I use myself. You have, this is level 1, level 2, and level 3. So level 1, you just saw that these things take almost 4 minutes to inflate your tire, just to go 15 pounds. And that's because they just don't have the big piston and the gears to generate a lot of air. And so that's why these are level 1. They take a long time to air up. And 2, these have a long duty cycle. So, these have a very short duty cycle. So what that means is that because these are all plastic and they don't breathe very well, when you're running these guys, you want to maybe give 10 to 15 minute break between each tire. Otherwise, these motors going to burn up, and that's the number one downfall of most electric compressors is the motor and dissipating heat. These do not do a very good job when it comes to plastic. On metal, on the other hand, they do a little better job, especially if you have aluminum one. They do a really good job of dissipating heat, and when you get to the bigger ones right here, that's why you saw these things perform 3 times better than these guys. It's because they got bigger compressors and they can push out a lot more air, and these did it in about a minute. Okay, now the price of these 2 right here is very similar. This is around under $70, and that's what you're gonna get on the internet or wherever. If you're buying a $70 type compressor or $100 or less, you're gonna get this type of performance out of it. From $100 to $250 to about $300, this is what you should expect. And again, these things have a very short duty cycle. So for every about 15 minutes of continuous runtime, you need to stop the compressor, let it cool down. Although most people don't, and I've had mine for 4 years, I don't ever do that and it runs just fine, but just know that that's what the manufacturers recommend, is that they have about a 50% or so duty cycle, and you gotta let it cool down before you get to the next tire. okay? Otherwise, you're gonna burn it up. And last thing you want is to burn up these compressors on the trail. And my third point about these level 1 and level 2 compressors is that these are all made in China. And if you guys been in the off-road industry, or if you guys are buying products where you're out in the middle of nowhere, you know, the China stuff is good for well, to me, I buy China stuff because they're disposable. You kind of gambling on how long it's gonna last, the durability. It's really hard to say. Again, I've had this for 4 years, but I've also had these other cheaper compressors last maybe 2 off-road trips, and it just burns out. So I've gone through quite a few of these actually in the past, just for experimental purposes, to get some knowledge in my head. So they all vary. Now, I've only owned the ARB for less than a year, but these are military grade compressors. These have a 100% duty cycle. You can run them 24 hours a day, nonstop. They got a cooling fans everywhere, and it's made out of aluminum, and they dissipate heat very efficiently. And two, they just push out a lot of air. But then again, you're paying, you know, anywhere from, well, that's $1,000 deal, but you can get cheaper ones where it's not all enclosed without the gallon tank and all that, but then you kind of lose some other benefits too. So this can be a very confusing environment, trying to figure out what's the best compressor to buy. Just know that anything under $100, it's gonna take you 4 minutes to inflate your tires, and you may or may not have problems, you know, very early on in your purchase. These should last you a little bit better. Okay, you're looking at 1 minute to inflate 15 pounds. Then that one is under a minute to inflate your tires. But then again, you're not really paying for, yes, you're paying for the speed, but you're paying for the long-term reliability factor. So if that's important to you, then that's the way to go. If you got a little small car and you just want to go to the woods and, you know, go enjoy the outdoor a little bit, I think this would be just fine, because these are so cheap. You can throw it away, or maybe, you know, get a warranty done. It's same as this. So all 4 of these are really good options for entry level. But if you want to get to, you know, like hardcore, and you're really going out a lot and you want just a one compressor that can do everything, then look at the ARB. All right, so hope that wasn't too confusing. Hope you guys got some value out of this video, and love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. And then if you guys want to see more reviews on these specific compressors, I'm going to do a separate video for each one of these, going over the form factors and whatnot, and then just share that with you guys. They'll all be very quick. So make sure you guys click that bell down below to be notified when those videos go up. So again, we just want to say thank you guys for supporting our channel, and we'll see you guys in the next video. God bless, and be safe out there in the COVID world.